Thank you, everybody, for joining our first webinar in 2026. So hopefully the year is kicking off well for you. My name is Johnny Freeman. I'm Pozotron Senior Customer Support Manager, also joined by our wonderful CEO, Adam Fritz. And today we're going to be walking you through the essential features and techniques in Pozotron Studio. This is a perfect webinar for refreshing your Pozotron skills, or if you're new to us, I'm going to be walking you through the entire workflow, what you need to know to get a project from start to finish. Yeah, so hopefully you learn a couple tricks today. The agenda, so really we're just going to be mirroring the workflow that you would do when you are working on a project in Pozotron. So that's going to start with creating your project. I'll show you how to set up your project for success. Right after that, we're going to show you the prep tools. So getting yourself ready for narration using our pronunciation and character guide tools. Then I'll show you the post-production tools, which includes our proofing tool, our exports, and our audio analysis tool, all post-production there. Lastly, I'll show you some best practices for what to do if you get stuck, if you need help in a project. Also things like how to manage your subscription, so useful things there, and then we'll leave time at the end for Q&A. However, if you do have any questions, we love to answer your questions live on these webinars. So don't be shy. As soon as you get a question, let us know. And the best way to do that is to use the Q&A box, which you can open with your toolbar at the bottom of the webinar. That alerts us that a question is waiting to be answered and helps us keep track of all of your questions. And with that, we can hop in. Adam, do you have anything to say before we get started?
Yeah, we just got a note about someone using an AI note assistant. Just so you know, we don't give permission for that for a number of reasons, but the main one being we don't know what happens to the data that's put into that AI note-taking app. I will try and figure out how to get that person out, but just so everyone knows, we do not give permission for AI recording or note-taking specifically because we don't know what happens to the data. So please don't use an AI note taker on our webinars.
Alrighty, with that, we will get started. The first step in using Pozotron is to create a project. So let me pull up Pozotron and I'll walk you through each of the settings you'll need to know about. Okay, great. So this is Pozotron. This is what it looks like when you get logged in. You'll be brought to your My Projects page. One thing actually quickly to mention before we get into anything is you should see a button up here to switch the user interface. And this is important because we've actually introduced some new functionality. We're in the process of redoing the user interface for Pozotron Studio. And when you log in, it might look like this for you. Just make sure you click this new UI button because this will bring you to our new user interface. It's got a lovely purple color, and it also has some additional functionality that I'll be showing you in this webinar. So for it to line up when you log into Pozotron, just make sure you're on the new user interface. And one of those things has to do with creating a project. Our new user interface actually allows you to create folders and organize your project screen so that it stays tidy and neat. But to get started, we'll click this Create New Project button over on the right side. And there's a lot of settings in here. I'll be covering the main ones today, but really all you need to get started is to give it a title in the project title field here, name your project, and then you'll want to upload the entire manuscript here. And that can be a PDF, EPUB, text, or Word document. And one thing I want to stress is to upload the entire manuscript at once. Sometimes people tend to create projects chapter by chapter, and our tools are actually designed to work on your entire manuscript at once. So it'll work a lot better if you just upload the whole thing, table of contents, all the chapters, all in one go. That'll work a lot better. So you can upload that here.
Just a question from
Yeah.
Philippa. And Philippa, it's about PDFs. We will definitely be getting into PDF stuff later on. So we're going to hold on your question because it is a good question and a very important one, but we're going to hold on your question. We will answer it a little bit later.
Absolutely, yeah. We'll show you how to fix any troublesome scripts, any troublesome PDFs in your project. Great. So those are the only settings you need to actually start using our tools. Once you upload your script, you can go ahead and just press create project and get going. If you scroll down, there are a whole bunch of settings in here, and these are for you to customize your experience in Pozotron. So once you've used us for a little while, you might want to play around with these. For example, the proofing sensitivity option here. If I expand that, this lets you actually tell Pozotron how you want it to behave when it's analyzing your audio against your script. You can actually tell it to relax and not flag so many things if you just want to catch the very obvious big mistakes. You can move that to relaxed. Or if you're working on a project where you really want to make sure everything was caught, maybe a medical narration and these tricky pronunciations, you want to be absolutely sure you catch every minor thing, you can move it to extra sensitive as well. And this will just increase the amount of suggestions you get in Positron. Same thing exists for our noise detection. You can enable this or disable it. And you can also have those same sensitivity options here. And one
And just
second.
one thing while Johnny reads my message. In terms of noise detection, we're very, it is something we continue to work on. The problem with noise detection is what a noise is for one person or one person's booth is very different than another. There are full disclosure, it's not perfect, and we are continuing to work on it. But if you do have any issues with any annotation, which is one of our suggestions, please tag at Positron and put a couple details in, and Johnny will show that a little bit later. But that allows us to continue to use that user feedback, to whether it's the way you speak or your booth setup or something that causes issues with our algorithm. It doesn't mean it's your fault. It just is what it is. Please let us know, and Johnny will show that later on.
Absolutely. Yep, so these are some options here. You can play around with these. Another one is the proofing annotation filter. So this here is for you to tell Positron what kinds of annotations you want it to flag for you. So if you don't want to be notified of pauses or noises or any particular kind of annotation, you can actually tell it to filter these out right when you create your project. So I could say, I don't care about pauses or noises. And when you create your project, it will ignore this kind of annotation here. So only use this if you want to limit what kinds of things Positron flags for you. If you want to see everything, just leave that alone and hit create project here. When you create your project, you'll see that appear right here. And to use any of our tools, we'll go ahead and click on it. This will bring you into the project. You will see with the new UI, there actually has been some update to these icons up here. So this is part of the new UI. There's also buttons on the right-hand side for repair and download and share. These are all nice and purple now, and they have some additional functionality there as well. So make sure you're on the new UI. And let's see, what are we going to go over first? We will move on to the next here. So we're going to cover our script prep tools. And a quick question from Jack, actually. Once you choose a project sensitivities, you can't later change those. Correct. That is correct, Jack. The sensitivity is locked in once you create your project. So it's really important that you choose the right one when you're creating it. Otherwise, you will have to recreate the project if you do want to change sensitivities at a later point.
And just for the reason for that is if you did want to change it, you would have to all the audio, everything would have to be completely reprocessed because there is a setting when you actually process the audio. And two things that causes: one, it'll automatically erase any progress you've made on proofing, and two, we get recharged all of the costs from our cloud servers to do that, which means we would have to pass a cost back onto you. We will, if you made a major issue, you can email us and we can actually change it and reprocess it from time to time. But if it's an every time thing, we would start charging you. So if you do have that issue, feel free to reach out to us and we can help. But generally, just do it before you do it. Actually upload your audio and create your project. One thing I should say, if you do want to test our sensitivity settings with your own projects, let us know. We're happy to give you a little bit of audio. If you want to go run the same 1 hour of audio through 3 times on relaxed, normal, extra sensitive, just to try it out and see, please let us know. Email us at help@positron.com and we're happy to give you some free credits to do that testing.
Yeah, great point. It's a great idea. If you're curious, let us know. Awesome. Thanks, Adam. So the prep tools, what we're going to be covering now are the pronunciation guide, the character voices guide, the export mark script, and our transfer research tool. These are the main tools you're going to be using for script prep. And I'm going to pull up Positron and walk you through each one of these one at a time. So you can access the prep tools at this top bar here. And the prep tools include the pronunciation and characters tab here. So I'm going to click pronunciation. And what this tool does is when you upload your script, Positron analyzes every single word in the entire manuscript and runs it through an algorithm to see if it is a word that's worth researching that might be tricky for narrators to pronounce. And after it's done that, you can click this Open Suggestions button here to see a list of words. So it's grabbing these words based on a few different criteria. The first thing it checks is for all capitalized words. If they are unique or rare, it'll grab all of these unique proper nouns in here. So it's great for catching names of people, names of cities, names of sci-fi planets or alien races or anything like that. It'll catch those unique words. Then it'll also take a look at just regular complex words. So there's a few different ways we determine that, but we had narrators when we were creating this tool go through a list of 150,000 words and rate them simple or complex. We also analyze the individual characters in a word, and based off of certain combinations, we can deem it as difficult to pronounce. So it's going to grab those words, as well as any foreign words not in the primary language of your book. So it'll catch all of those words, put them in a list for you here, and give you a snapshot of all of these potentially tricky words. Now, the list is actually customizable. So I have it set to show me as many words as possible right now, just because it's great for examples. But if you want to change this, you can click this little cog right here for suggestion sensitivity. And you can see here for complex for this category, I have it set to show me as many words as possible. I can change this, and you'll see I have 20 complex words on the list. If I move this down closer to fewer, the criteria for what is a complex word has changed. And it's only going to take the really complicated ones and keep them on the list. So we can see that went down to 1. Now I'm going to pull this back up, but this is really helpful for you to customize the list to match up with your vocabulary. Yeah, make sure you take advantage of that. It does look like we have a question as
Yeah,
well.
Viviana and Goldie. I have asked Goldie a couple questions. We'll get into actually in 2 minutes if Goldie gets it to me on time when Johnny gets the character side of things. But Viviana asked, I've uploaded the script and find jargon, and I'm assuming by jargon you mean it's like garbled, but I'm not 100% sure. And I think it's the DRM was told there something needs to be checked off select. I don't know what it is or where. Viviana, there's two things you can do here. The best thing, quite frankly, shoot us a support ticket to help@positron.com. Please include the link to your project and specifics, ideally like a screenshot and stuff like that. The best way to do it is Johnny can show the help button up here at the top. Click that, go request support, and then it'll guide you through what information we need, and we'll be able to answer. My guess is there's some setting on the PDF, whether it's locked for editing or something that's preventing us from being able to parse it properly. PDFs are the bane of everyone at Positron's existence, but they are ubiquitous, obviously. So send us that information and we can help you figure it out. Ideally, a copy of the script as well would be great. And we'll get to Goldie and Philippa. Here we go. Okay. So Johnny, you keep going. I'm going to
Oh,
look into Goldie's thing and we'll go from there.
can you still hear me? Can you still hear me, Adam?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yes, I can.
Just had something happen with my computer, but we're still live, so that's good. Yep, great. So use this help button here. This will make it really easy for us to inspect any issue you're running into. So just make sure you use that help button. But to continue, so once you have the suggestions list set up the way you'd like with the sensitivity, what's really helpful is we are actually integrated with these online dictionaries here. So this is the first place Positron's going to check when you want to research a word. I have Merriam-Webster selected. What that means is if I click Add to Research here, we'll see it'll jump over from my suggestions list to the research list, and it's grabbed the phonetic spelling as well as a recording of this pronunciation straight from Merriam-Webster, and it'll store it in your project so you can reference it at any point in the future. So this is really helpful. You can go through, you can add words that you want to research, you can ignore any words you don't need the pronunciation for. You can also use the keys R and I on your keyboard to quickly research or ignore the top entry of the list. So I can jump through these just by pressing R. It's adding these words to my list, or I can press I to ignore it, and that just removes it. So the general workflow here is people upload their script. You'll go through this suggestions list first, adding any word you want to research. Go ahead and ignore any words that I don't need to research. And let me add a word like Dinah in here as well. So one great thing about the pronunciation guide is any word that has been researched in one project is going to be available in any other project that you upload to Pozotron. We can see here this word Dinah I've actually researched previously. So usually this comes back blank. So I'm just clearing everything out here. And when you add a word to your list, if it's not found in Merriam-Webster, we'll come through. It'll show you no phonetics. There'll be no audio recording. So the first thing that I want you to do if you get a word like this is to click the Get Alternative Pronunciations button here, this cloud button. This is going to show you everything that Pozotron found online for this word. So it's a really great way to check Forvo, to check all of our other integrated dictionaries, and I can just listen to each one of these here and find the correct pronunciation. If I want to use any of these pronunciations, I'll just press this plus button here. That'll add it to the word. So now I have that saved in the project. I can also enter, oops, what is happening here? Okay, great. Let me edit this. I can also enter a phonetic spelling. So something like that. That'll save it to the pronunciation guide. You can also add any word you'd like up here in this add custom word field. Let me just add it Johnny up here. Add that in, it'll research it right away. So using the suggestions list and also adding any words that you want from your book here will give you a complete pronunciation guide for your project. All right, excuse me. So a couple other things to show you with the pronunciation guide. This import export button has a few options for exporting this report, also for importing. So a couple ways people use this. They use the suggestions list. You might also do your own read through and create your own list of words to research. And this import list button is very useful. So I can open this up and enter up to, I believe it's 200 words, but I can just add any word I'd like here. And I'm just thinking of random words. One word per line, hit save. And this will add all of them simultaneously. So it's a very quick way to add a ton of words to your list and research them. So you don't need to Google each one individually. Now, for tricky words, I'm going to add a word that this is a character from one of my favorite books. His name is Quoth, spelled like this. For tricky words like this, let me see if I can find him. You'll see it'll come back with this no phonetics here. So the first thing I'd recommend is the cloud button. This is always the easiest place to check for any additional pronunciations. And it does look like it was found in Forvo. However, if it comes back blank, some words will not be available in Forvo or any of these integrated dictionaries. Our last ditch effort to help you, we have some really helpful links over on the right-hand side to search this word in other resources like Youglish, How'd You Say, One Look, or Cambridge. And these can usually help you before you have to resort to something else like Youglish is a favorite. This is going to bring you straight to a YouTube video where somebody is pronouncing this word. It searches YouTube transcripts and finds a point in a video where someone's saying this word. So perfect. So there's a pronunciation for quoth. What I can do once I've
Just so
found
you
it,
know,
and
Johnny, we can't, I think when you shared, you didn't take off the share audio because we couldn't actually hear the audio there.
oh, okay,
Good old
gotcha.
Zoom.
Good old Zoom. All right, let me fix that really quickly. May have to do this. Okay, good. Share. So that should work now. Let me make sure. Can you hear this?
Gives in and decides to tell him.
Is that audio coming through? Okay, perfect. Okay, good. So now that I've heard the pronunciation from Youglish there, I don't think you guys heard it, but I did. And I'm going to click this microphone button. And this lets me edit any word on my list. Allows me to record a pronunciation. Quoth, quoth. So that's a correct pronunciation there. Also enter a phonetic spelling, something like this. Can also link to Youglish to save this reference and save this word. And now I have my recording here, quoth, and my phonetic spelling. So this has been saved to the project now. A few things to remember. If a word is coming back blank, use the get alternate pronunciations, and then also check these links on the right-hand side. And 1 second while I take a sip. Alrighty. Those are the basics of the pronunciation guide. It looks like a question from Goldie as well. Are docs easier to process? It will work just as fine as a PDF, but they tend to have less issues. They don't have the same formatting things that or issues that PDFs can run into. So you could say they're easier to process in that way, but if your PDF doesn't have any issues, there really isn't a difference. Whatever's more convenient. But if you do have a PDF that is giving you issues, and you also have a Word version of it or a docx version of it, you can try uploading that because that generally doesn't have the same ligature issues. All right, moving along to the character voices guide. So let me pull this back up here. So the character voices guide it works similarly to the pronunciation guide. It'll give you a suggestions list, but this time it's looking for characters. So it's scanning your script, looking for each character in your manuscript. And this is meant to be a repository for all the character information that you want to note down and remind yourself how to perform these characters. Let me add a character like Sherlock and Watson, just as examples. Now, Sherlock, I've researched previously. And that's, again, one nice thing about Pozotron is it'll remember your research and populate it if they come up in a new project. So that's why you're seeing this came in pre-filled. Watson here is blank. So adding a character to your character guide is useful in a few different ways. First off, clicking this count button here is a really great way to get a snapshot of a character throughout your script. This will show you every single occurrence of the character with the sentence that is included. It'll show you the page number, so you can quickly skip around to your script to research this character. So the count button there, it'll also show you the first occurrence. So Watson first appears on page 11 here. It also gives you an area to enter the character description. So here I can write just the description of Watson. He's a doctor and veteran, Sherlock's right-hand man, whatever details I want to put in there. The voice notes are what they're supposed to sound like. He is calm and measured. And then lastly, you can record as many voice samples as you'd like for each character. So with this purple microphone button here, I could record as many voice samples. I can also upload a clip to be used for inspiration. And this will keep it all nicely stored in your project here. So that's the main point of the character voices guide. Really helpful on projects with lots of characters. If you're doing a Game of Thrones-ish kind of thing with 30 different voices you're going to have to do, it's nice to keep it organized. One other thing about the character voices guide is there are some entries on your suggestions list. You'll see you have this AI tag. And this means that Pozotron has identified some additional details about the character for you. So if I add any of these, if I add Gatsby, for example, or Valerie, now return to my research list, you'll see that these come in pre-filled with some details about the character. So Gatsby here identified that he's a male and he speaks in an urgent, matter of fact, or distant way. And Valerie identified that she's a female with flat, even, calm in the voice description here. Excuse me. So Pozotron will do its best to give you a starting point to research these characters and can be really helpful there. We have a question from Goldie. How do aliases work on characters? That's a great question. So you can add aliases to any character. And essentially what this does, you'll see Sherlock has one for Holmes. And what this means is whenever Pozotron sees Sherlock or Holmes in your script, it's going to assume that they're the same character. And this is really helpful for our export marked script feature here. So by adding an alias to Sherlock, so Sherlock can be referred to as Sherlock or just Holmes, this feeds perfectly into our next prep tool, which is the export marked script. I'm going to click this. What this will do is let you customize what data to include in the marked script. So this is going to download a copy of your uploaded manuscript with some highlights and comments based on the data that you've put into your character guide, excuse me, as well as your pronunciation guide. So to show you what that looks like, let's export a marked script. I'll open it up here so we can see a copy of my PDF. And now let me find Sherlock. So you'll see here Sherlock as well as Holmes have been highlighted. And this is because of the alias feature. Alias feature tells you when Holmes is here, it's also going to show you the notes under Sherlock because it recognizes that this is another name for that character. So if I hover over Sherlock or Holmes, I will see those descriptions that I put into the character voices guide. With Watson as well, you'll see any notes that you put into Positron. So that's the main function of aliases. If you're not using the export mark script feature, you really don't need to add a bunch of aliases unless you want to just keep it organized. But this is what the functionality allows. But thanks for the question. Alrighty, I believe that's everything for the prep tools. The very last thing is how to share this with a collaborator. So often, it looks like you're muted, Adam. I don't know if you're talking to us.
Darn. I thought I unmuted, but I missed the button. Just a question for Jack. Can we download the mark script? Yes, you just click the export mark script button and it automatically downloads to your computer, or it should based on your PDF settings. If it opens up in your Chrome, Johnny, if you want to open it up.
Yep.
Yeah,
So
it
it
should
downloads.
download, but sometimes your browser settings will be just to open it up and not download it. You're just going to click the little download button in the top right there, Jack.
Yep. No matter what browser you're on, you should see a download button if it opens up here. All right. Another question from Goldie. Feature question. Is there a way to get a count of unique characters? For example, Sherlock and Holmes count as one character. Like to get the total count. That's a good question. I don't believe so, unless you had Holmes added. You would see Sherlock's count as well as Holmes's count, and then we could combine those. That's a good idea. So I don't think that's currently available, but thank you for the request. That should be something our devs can implement. So thanks, Goldie. Alrighty, yes, the last thing to show you here is how to collaborate with others on your prep tools. A couple of different options. So first off, the share button up here. This will allow you to invite anyone you'd like to your project. You can see here I've added Adam as a researcher to this project. So what that means is he can come in here and access the prep tools. He can help me with research. He can make edits or leave notes or anything like that. If you just want to get someone's feedback and you don't want them to be able to change anything in your project, I'd recommend using the share online packet. This will generate a unique URL that you can copy with this button here. And if I go to that, this will give me a read-only version of my character voice guide. So I could send this to the author if I'd like them to listen to my voice samples before I go ahead and record an entire book and get feedback on that, or share with your coach or anyone you'd like. It's really easy to generate this, and you don't have to worry about them accidentally deleting anything or changing anything. So you can do that with the character voices guide as well as the pronunciation guide. They both have this share online packet button here. If you want to download it, you can under the import export button. You can export a packet, which will include MP3s for every pronunciation that you have on your pronunciation list, or every voice sample that you've recorded. It'll download MP3s to your computer, so you don't need internet to access them. Or you can export it to an Excel sheet as well. So a couple of different options. The very last thing is this transfer research button. This is a great feature, especially if you're working on a series of audiobooks, because what it does is it'll take all the research you've done on this project and it'll move it to another project in Pozotron. And this is really helpful because let's say you do book one, you have 20 characters, you have a couple hundred words on your pronunciation list. You can then move those to book two when you create that project in Positron. And the great thing about it is it'll automatically hide any words or characters that don't reappear in the second book. But any relevant words that do reappear or any relevant characters, those will all be automatically added. So you don't need to redo any of your research. And it makes this research you do in one project keep paying you dividends in future projects. So make sure you use that. You just hit transfer research and then choose whatever project you'd like to move this to. Okay, I think we've covered everything on prep. Take a second. If you do have any questions on these tools, let us know.
And
Other,
just as always, so Johnny can get a sip of water because he's been talking a lot. If you
thank
do
you.
have questions, if you have a lot of questions, I would recommend booking a demo, and I'm sure Lindsay will put the book a demo link in the chat. But if you do have questions or suggestions or feature requests, please send them to us because a lot of our best features have come from a customer saying, "I have this specific problem. Is there some way that you can help us with this?" Scan occurrences is an example. We have a lot of people reach out to us, and you'll see the scan occurrences tool in a little bit saying, "I mispronounced the same character name 25 times in a book." And that tool will solve that exact problem. So don't hesitate to reach out. We honestly do want your feedback. Jack, is there a maximum number of projects you can have at Positron? Absolutely not.
Yep, upload as many as you'd like. Thanks, Adam. Okay, great. We're going to move on to proofing now and post-production. And Philippa, now I will answer your question, which is what to do if you open up the proofing tool here and you see a bunch of gibberish and Positron hasn't read your PDF correctly. So that's common with PDFs. PDFs tend to have issues. And to repair those, you'll see in the new UI, there's a very nice just repair button here. And this is our PDF repair tool. If I click this, you'll have a couple options here. But if you're having any issues with your script, all you really need to do is click Fix My PDF. The default settings will correct any of the ligature issues or formatting issues that are causing weird behavior in Positron. And what's great about this is usually you've uploaded all your audio and there's thousands of annotations and it's all messed up. Clicking repair will not only reprocess your script, but it'll reprocess all of your audio and give you a new fresh look for each one of these chapters. Now, one thing to keep in mind is it will, when it reprocesses, it will erase any progress you've made. So make sure you just do this right away. If you notice anything weird with your script, go ahead and repair it before you go through and start proofing so that none of your work gets overwritten. But Philippa, I hope that answers your question. Just use this, or if that doesn't, if you need additional help, just reach out to us with the help button up here, and we'll take a look at it and get your project up and running. All right. So the proofing tool, the way the proofing tool works is once you've uploaded your script, you come to the proofing tab here and you'll upload your audio. Now it can be any format, MP3, FLAC, or WAV. It just can't be longer than 2 hours in one audio file. So you want to split up your whole book into chapters or sections and upload them here. Now we'll take some time to process it depending on how long your file is, it can go from a few minutes to about 15 minutes. And when it's processed, you will see this status with a particular number here. And this number is the amount of suggestions that Pozotron has made. We call these annotations in your script. So these are the points of interest that you'll want to take a look at with the open proofing button here. This will open up the proofing interface. And here we will see your script, but what's really nice is it's been synchronized with your audio. So you can click anywhere in the script, it'll update the time bar. And so let me click right here and I'll press space bar to start playing the audio.
Our audio proofing tool is designed to catch the key mistakes your narrator may make during narration, including...
So you can see here it highlights each word as it said. It's really easy to follow along and proof. And then you'll see these red underlines that are, it's kind of like spell check. These are where Pozotron identifies a potential mistake or something that needs to be corrected. They're also all listed on the left-hand side here. So this is the list of annotations that you'll want to take a look at. It gives you a description of what Pozotron heard. So here it says it's heard a word be inserted. So I'm going to click right here and listen to that.
Words accidentally added into the script by the narrator.
So we can see here the word accidentally was inserted. And if we want to fix this, that's where these buttons come in. There's 3 buttons here, or 4 actually. Anything you want to correct, you'll mark as a pickup. Anything that is a minor error that's not needed, you don't need to fix, just press OK to ignore it. There's a typo, you can mark it as that. And there's a filter out button, which is essentially the add to dictionary button in spell check, where it'll remember that you don't want to be notified of this particular issue throughout the entire project. So if it keeps flagging something over and over again, just use the filter out button to clear those. So I'm going to mark it as a pickup and I'll move on to the next.
Words missed from the script. Of course, it will...
So here, missing words, any words that are not narrated will be flagged as well. So I'm going to mark that as a pickup and move on to the next.
Of course, it will find misperceptions and misspoken words.
So misreads as well, or mispronunciations. So these are the 3 kind of main things it'll flag with any misreads, any added words, missing words, and then anything that's different from what your manuscript says. So any changed words, it'll flag that as well. You can mark those as a pickup. And then it'll flag any long pauses or background noises in your project here. So I'll play that for you as well.
Pauses longer than 2 seconds. Noises, including audio distortions, synthetic sound.
So there's a long pause here, and Pozotron will tell you the exact length of the pause. So this is 2.4 seconds, and I can mark this as a long pause or ignore it. I can also use this filter out button to tell Pozotron that this length of pause is acceptable throughout my entire project. So if I hit filter out, it'll ask me if I'd like to automatically filter out other pauses shorter than this one. If I press yes, now 2.4 seconds is the threshold that it has to pass before it flags it. And noises as well. So it'll detect clipping as well as any background noises or loud booth sounds. And what Adam said earlier, if there is an issue with any one of these annotations, anything you'd like to bring to our attention, there's a little pencil icon right here that's on every annotation when you hover over it. And if you want us to take a look at something, just type in Pozotron here. You'll see this @Pozotron tag. This is really helpful. We get notified immediately of any tags, any pickups, any annotations, sorry, with that tag on it. So if I hit save, this will get sent to our team and we can use that to improve the algorithm or take a look at whatever you're running into. So don't be shy on that. If you do have a question on anything, pencil icon, Pozotron, and save. Perfect. So those are the main types of annotations that Pozotron will flag. The last kind of annotation is a manual annotation. So if you are listening through to this and you find something that you want to fix, you just want to redo a line or there's some issue that you want to fix, you can just highlight this, click create pickup, and create your own note here. So I can tell myself to, add more emotion to this line or fix whatever I want to fix with that area. So those are the basics of the proofing tool, and there are 2 main ways that I've seen narrators use the proofing tool. First off, they start at the beginning and they listen through to everything sequentially, making their own notes for things like pacing or tone that they want to change, and then paying special attention to these red underlines as well, or these annotations, and marking those. Others want to quickly go through our suggested annotations and then do a full listen through afterwards where they just focus on tone or performance. So I'm going to show you the other workflow, and I'm going to quickly just mark the rest of these so this chapter looks finished. So we can see here, everything's been checked. 6 things need to be fixed. And before I show you how to fix those, I'm going to show you the other workflow of proofing. So if I click open proofing on this, we call this speed mode. This is the fastest way to go through this list of annotations on the left-hand side. But you can do this by clicking an annotation. And when you select an annotation on the left-hand side, you'll see it will automatically scroll to that point in here. So you can quickly listen to that point. And using a couple of hotkeys on your keyboard, we can check these really quickly. So the hotkeys are available up here. You can see all the different hotkeys that exist in Pozotron. We've got A for marking things as okay, D for pickup, and spacebar to play and pause the audio. These are the main ones here. There's a whole bunch of others. But just using those 3, which you can do with your left hand, I'm going to click the first one. So it's got this yellow border around it. Press play.
Chapter 1.
And we can see the audio starts at the beginning of the chapter, so that's great. I'm going to press A. That marks it as okay and instantly jumps to the next one in the list. So now when I hit play,
Since those who know him give him this mark of their appreciation.
I'll press that space bar again to pause it, and I can see that's okay. I'm going to press A, and it skips to the next. And you don't even need to pause it in between this. You can actually just let it roll. So I'm going to let it roll through the rest of the chapter and quickly check these annotations.
Service of the hospital in order to start a practice for himself.
So there's a pickup.
Incredulously, as Sherlock Holmes leaned back into his settee and
There's a pickup.
small medical shelf, I took down the medical dictionary and turned up the name.
There's a pickup.
Agile and restless as the antennae of an insect.
That's okay.
Always appeals strongly. Then had you better not consult him.
There's a
Demand
pickup.
my assistance.
And that's okay as well. So here I just jumped through this 12-minute audio file in 20 seconds or so, and I checked everything that Pozotron suggested. So it's up to you how you want to use this. Those are the 2 most common ways I see people use Pozotron. They get the big checks out of the way, and then they can do a full listen through and just listen for performance, tone, and anything else that they want to listen to. All right, looks like we're getting close to the end of the hour, so I'm going to speed up here. Gone through the proofing interface. The last thing is the export options. So there's 2 main ones that I want to show you. The DAW marker export and the pickup packet or proofing reports. We've gone through, we've marked what we want to fix. Now we have to actually go fix them. So what I'm going to do here is go to import export. You can do this under the import export button, or you can do it for a particular chapter down here. So I'm going to actually use just for this chapter. I'm going to click the 3-dot menu, hit export. You want to choose DAW markers from the dropdown, and then choose your workstation, whatever digital audio workstation you're working in. I'll show you in Audacity here. If I hit export, you'll see it downloads a little file here. And if I open up Audacity, and I'm just going to open up that chapter, looks like I need to download it. All right. Just opening this up in Audacity, pull that over. Okay, good. So here's my session. This is the Sherlock Holmes chapter. Then I'm going to import this text file that I got from Pozotron. I'm going to go to File, Import Labels, and I'll select that. And you'll see it actually puts in a marker file here showing me exactly where these issues are. So it's really great for finding the area of your audio file that you need to fix, and using this in combination with our pickup reports. So I'm going to show you the pickup packet. Hit export. If I scroll down here, the pickup packet will show me a list of every pickup that I have, everything that I marked as a pickup in the project. And it's separated by chapter here, so I'm down to the Sherlock Holmes section here. And if I open up Audacity along with this, what's really nice is being able to find the section of audio that needs to be corrected, which is right here, and then also have the line that I need to re-record right here. So I can find these and they'll line up perfectly. And once I fix this, scroll down to the next, find it in my session, and go ahead and correct it. So a lot of different ways to do your pickups, but these reports can definitely help speed it up. Rob, no worries. Yes, we will have this webinar posted on our YouTube, so it is recorded and you can view it later. So no problem. Thanks for coming. The last couple of reports are the proofing reports. This downloads an Excel sheet with the same data that's on your pickup packet, but if you want it in Excel, you can export the proofing report. And then the typo report as well will show you any typo that has been identified in Pozotron. And those are available here, typo report and proofing report. They're both Excel sheets. Alrighty, let's keep it going. We'll start with the audio analysis tool. This is like the final check in your project. So once you have redone all your pickups, you've mastered your files, you're ready to upload it to a distributor or ship it off wherever it's going, you can use audio analysis to make sure that the specs are up to par with whatever platform you're uploading it to. This is a totally free tool. You can come here and choose a preset. You'll want to upload your mastered files first. So you'll just drag and drop your mastered files in this section. Then under the preset bar, excuse me, we have a few standard presets for ACX or Spotify. You can also add your own presets if you have particular specifications you're checking. But with ACX selected, if I hit show analysis, this is going to tell me if my mastered files pass or fail their requirements. So before I upload it, I can take a look at why a file is failing. It'll give me all the details from duration, sample rate, sample peak, RMS, top and tail duration, noise floor, and anything else you need to check. All of this information is here. So this is a great final check for your audio files. And I have a tickle in my throat that will not go away, so I apologize for that.
That's okay. I can take over here if you want, Johnny.
Sure. We only have a couple other things.
Okay,
really,
then I'll let you keep going. If you just tag out if you need me to.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you, Adam. With the last few minutes, I did want to talk about a couple of new screens that you can access in your profile. So this is a really helpful way to manage your account. Make sure that you are on the proper subscription at all times and give you all the data you need to make sure you're getting the hours you need. And if you need to change your subscription, we've made it really easy for you to do that under the subscription tab here. Now, this will only show up if you are in the new UI. So if I'm in my old UI and I click my dashboard, I'll see this old user interface here. So make sure you're on new UI because there's some additional pages in here that are really helpful for managing your account, especially under the subscription tab. Let me pull up the actual slide here because I'm in the webinars account, which doesn't have a plan. But if you are subscribed to any subscription in Pozotron, this screen will show you all of your subscription details. So it'll tell you what plan you are subscribed to. And just beneath that, we have the subscription plan usage. So you can actually see how much audio you've uploaded in your current invoice period. And this is important because Pozotron allow you to change your subscription at any point. For example, if I'm on the professional 4 plan, which gives me 4 hours, you can see plan includes 240 minutes. And let's say I come to this page and I see I've uploaded 800 minutes. That's a lot more than my plan down here. And being able to switch your plan at any point, if I come back to this here, means I can scroll down and use our Pozotron plan selector. So I can see I've uploaded 9 hours this month and my billing period is in 2 days. I can use this little slide bar here under the plan selector, see, okay, I've uploaded 9 hours. What's the best plan for me to be on? Because if you're not on the right plan, you might pay more than you need to. And now you can easily see that, okay, I need to be on the Pro 8 plan, just hit subscribe. And the point of this is as your workload changes, you can just come to this page to see what your current workload is and change accordingly right here without even, you don't need to contact support, you don't need to jump through any hoops, you can just easily subscribe to any new plans here. And this is brand new. With all of our new plans, there are options for every 4 hours up until the publisher plans, then it changes, but every 4 hours probably makes sense for you to switch between these. And now you can do so at any point in your subscription without any. We used to have plans that would charge you at the beginning of the month or at the end of the month, and so changing plans was a little bit complicated. Now these are all the same format, so you can just upgrade or downgrade whenever you need. I hope you take advantage of this. It can really help you customize your workload. And so you're only paying for what you need instead of guessing. So please use the subscription page. And again, if you do have any questions, we're always here to direct you to the best plan. So if you ever have a question, just say, "Hey Johnny," or "Hey Adam, what I've uploaded this much. Can you just do it for me?" And yeah, we'll do it for you. But now you can also do it yourself down here. I hope it helps. Adam, anything else to add to this?
No, I think I say no, and then I'm going to add something. Honestly, I just think so many subscriptions lock you in and are not flexible. And I think our industry, any narration is not a straight line business. You don't just have the same number of projects, same number of hours every month. So it was really important to give that flexibility. There has been some misconceptions about this rollout. So if you hear anything on the dark Facebook groups out there, please just encourage them. You don't have to jump in the way of a bullet for us, for probably not a very good analogy, but encourage them to reach out to us and we'll address their specific situation. That's all I would say. Is all we ask is we're far from perfect and we recognize that. But if you hear your friends, colleagues, whatever, complaining about something on the dark web, please just encourage them to speak to us, because 9 times out of 10, it's a misconception or a misunderstanding. And in the cases where we are actually wrong, we go out of our way to fix it.
Exactly. Yeah. If there is anything we need to change, we definitely want to hear about that and be a part of the conversation. But I hope this helps you choose the right plan. And again, if you have any questions, let us know. But I just want to stress, there is no penalty for changing your plan at any point in your subscription. So what I recommend to a lot of our users, go to your subscription page, see when your invoice period ends. You can see here in this screenshot, this ends on February 20th. So set a calendar reminder on the 19th of every month to check your subscription page, because you'll see how much audio you've uploaded that month. And then you can switch right before it closes to the one that gives you the best price. And that's going to be the easiest way to be on the right plan.
John, could you just are you able to open up the all plans where it shows that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Gary, the difference is that's the overage. The difference is the higher you go, the more volume discount you're getting at 4 hours, 8 hours. So you're built, however, if you're on the professional 8 and your invoice closes and you only upload 4 hours, you're paying for 80 hours. So the flip side to us giving so much flexibility is if you're on the professional. So let's just say we really go out of our way to give flexibility, but it's on you to change. And now that you can fully change your plan and manage it, it's on you to manage your plan. Just if you don't cancel your Netflix account on time and you decide you don't want to use it the next month, they're going to say, sorry, you had the ability to cancel it. So, yeah. We want to give self-serve flexibility.
Exactly. Yeah. And if you're on the right plan, you're pretty much going to pay $10 an hour regardless of what this overage is. So that's why it's important that you make sure if you upload 12 hours and you're on the Pro 8 plan, it's probably better to just upgrade your plan. And you can do that now. Go to all plans, subscribe. This button will do it instantly, and there's no waiting. So you can instantly go to whatever plan you need. But again, if you have questions, let us know. We'll help you get to the right one. And with that, we are a minute past the hour. We did get through it all except for the best practices. Already covered the PDF fixer or PDF repair tool. So if you do need help with your PDFs, make sure you use that tool. But if you need any other help, you can always reach out to us at help@pozotron.com. You can access our support articles at support.pozotron.com. It's got all our tutorials there. And we have a contact us. And like Adam said, just contact us for feature requests, for feedback, for anything you need. We'd love to hear it. You can always book a demo with us or book a meeting with Adam or I to discuss what's going on, and we'll be happy to help. So thank you for sticking around all the way to the end. It's the first webinar of the year, so excited to be back. And if there's anything we can do, let us know. Or if you have any questions, actually, we'll hang out for a couple of minutes. If there's anything else we can do, let us know.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Jack. All right. We're logging off. Thanks. Bye-bye.